Hi, welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be talking about the production possibilities frontier, otherwise known as the production possibilities curve, what it is, and how to understand and interpret the curves and graphs. So I've split this video up into three sections. The first one is the basic definition and understanding what a production possibilities frontier is. The second section is the basic assumptions that are made whenever we look at these graphs. The third section is actually looking at the graphs, and this will be broken up into three mini sections, which is essentially the convex graphs, the linear graphs, and the concave graphs. So chapter 1, which is the definition. So the production possibility frontier is a model that shows the change in outputs of two products when there is a trade-off between resources, and it really highlights the economic problem of the fact that there are more wants than there are resources. This is known as scarcity. The production possibility frontier also displays how the allocation of resources is very important in everybody's life. So it can be an entrepreneur, just a startup business, who's having to decide which resources would be best to help maximize profit in his business, or like a government where they'll try and maximize welfare and health for the nation. But for example, you can see, like, imagine in governments, they're going to have to look at, let's say, healthcare and education. If you put more money towards healthcare, then less will be able to be spent on education. And so this graph essentially always shows how there's an opportunity cost, and it tries to display how big the opportunity cost is based on where you allocate your resources. Okay, so chapter 2, which is going to be looking at the assumptions that are made when we're looking at this graph. So we've just established that this model displays the marginally increasing opportunity cost that occurs when there's a trade-off in goods. And what happens is that economists need to assume certain things for the actual model to work. And so one of these things is that technology is constant. Another one is that the resources are constant. And then the third thing that is assumed that is correct is the fact that all the resources are equally efficient and used to their fullest. So they aren't like faulty, or like the company wouldn't buy them and then not be able to use them. And so then this allows economists to look at the graph and to create these graphs to the best of their ability to show the trade-off and the marginally increasing opportunity cost. Okay, so chapter 3, and this is on graphs. Basically, a PPF graph would look something like this. It's also known as a PPC, which is a production possibility curve, so they are interchangeable terms. But they look something like this, and this is a concave one, but we'll look more into the actual shapes of them in a minute. So basically, a point can either be on the curve, or outside of the curve, or inside of the curve. And if it's on the curve, that means that it is efficient and that the production that is taking place is efficient. If it's inside of the curve, that means it's inefficient and that the business is not using its resources to its fullest. If it's outside of the curve, then that means that it is possible to achieve that level of production, but not just yet. So like technology might need to improve, or they might need to expand more as a business, gain more. So then basically there are three types of these curves or graphs. And the first type would be probably the most basic one that you'll see, which is the concave one. And that looks something like this. This essentially just shows the increasing opportunity cost that takes place. So as you fund more money or you give more resources to one product, there will be a lower amount of the other product being produced. So then the opportunity cost is the amount of product that you've lost of product B. The second graph will be the convex graph, which can be seen in this. And here you can basically see how when you increase resources, for example, for B, then the opportunity cost decreases as you increase. Whereas in a graph like this, which is the concave graph, you can see that as you increase B as well, the opportunity cost increases. So the convex is basically the opposite of the concave. The third graph is just a straight line, and this shows a constant opportunity cost. This means that as let's say you increase spending on product B by 1, and you decrease, and then you have an opportunity cost of 1, and it just continues like that. So it's exactly the same opportunity cost each time. So each time you allocate more resources to B, A will decrease by the same amount. Okay, so then finally, we're going to be talking about shifts that can be caused in the production possibility curves. And this is just basically they either shift inwards or outwards. And so inwards happens when there's like a recession in the economy, or war, or famine, or just a poor economy, government changing, and all that. So that's just when the economy gets smaller and therefore you're not able to produce as much. Whereas if the if the curve shifts outwards, then that means that the economy is expanding, there's more technology, there's growth and development, and you're able to allocate more resources or produce more possibly with the same amount. So that's basically how the graphs shift. So in conclusion, basically what the production possibilities frontier is, it just shows the opportunity cost that occurs when you allocate more resources to one product than you do to another, and how the production of each product changes based on this allocation of resources. And governments and individual business owners use this to decide and make rational decisions on how to make the best profit or how to increase happiness and welfare in the country. I hope this video is helpful and I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching.